today we will discuss about these 6 topics, which is advanced topic for dictionary. Whereas we'll discuss the first topic is hashing and hashability. We'll understand what exactly hashing is. The hashability is supported in Python. Then we will be working on a specialized dictionary from collections. So there is a library, collection library we use for complex problems to solve. And then we will talk about the nested dictionaries, then dictionary for caching and memorization. Then we will discuss about the JSON serialization. So most of the request responses we build in JSON form. So we should be well aware about how to convert dictionary into JSON or JSON into dictionary. Then we will discuss about the performance consideration for senior roles where we have lot of interview questions based on the performance of your solution. So before moving to these advanced topics, I have 2 assignments for you, and these are the assignment 1 and assignment 2. These belongs from very initial classes like data types, variables, and each assignment is having 10 questions. Each question having 4 options, MCQ type. One option is the right answer. So you need to answer each question and submit the assignment. Take 5 minutes on one assignment, 5 minutes on another assignment. The assignments link, I'll paste it into the comment. In today's class, we will cover all these topics, and based on the complexity, I'll take it up. This is not the exact sequence where we are going to learn. I'll pick first nested dictionary and then let's discuss about it. So when you are building a dynamically, you often need to check the existence of key, or if it is a nested dictionary, then again you need to go to the again in dictionary. So for example, I'll create one dictionary which is having nested dictionary. Let's say employee info, and this variable will have some data about the employees. For example, ID, employee name, and then maybe DOB, and then mobile number, and I'll have a nested um, dictionary where the key is more info, where we can keep maybe city, or we can create this as an address. So let's say address will have different fields. So first field is, let's say, flat number 101. Then we'll have something like a street, main street, then city, then state, country, something like that. So if you see here, we have one dictionary which is employee info, and again we have another dictionary here, a nested dictionary, and this dictionary also is having key versus values. So you can create any in any depth the dictionary. So here I have created, two labels, 2D dictionary. You can create ND and number of depth. So here, how we will use it? Let's say if I want to access the address, and from address itself, I'll access city, for example. So we can do that. Employee info, then use a square bracket, and within a square bracket, pass the exact key which you want to access the value of. So let's say if I want to access the entire field of address, then you will be getting another dictionary. This is the entire dictionary. So now out of this dictionary, I'll be fetching city. So you need to use again a square bracket, and into this you need to pass the key city. In this case, you will get Delhi. So the exact value of that key. So you can go in any depth. For example, let's say in address itself, you can create another dictionary also. Let's say maybe permanent address or something, maybe temporary address. It depends on you how you are creating your data structure. And here I'll say like this. So again, it has one more level of the dictionary. So this dictionary has this nested, this dictionary has this nested. So now let's suppose if I want to access the temporary addresses street, then how I will access it? Print employee info, then I'll go into address, and within the temp address, so in address, then temp address, then now we are passing next key, city or maybe street. So you want to access street, then we can pass street. So we are able to access this. So this is the very easier way to access the elements or the values of each key in nested dictionary. So now let's discuss about zip function. There's a one inbuilt function in Python called zip, and how the zip function works. And using the zip function, we will perform some operations, and then we'll move into dictionary side how to use that and what are the optimal way or problems we can solve with zip function. So you can write a small definition about zip, a single sentence. The zip function is used to combine multiple iterables such as list, tuple, etc. element wise. It pairs the first elements together, then the second elements together, and third elements together, and so on. Now let's suppose you have maybe students one list which is Rohan, Deepak, Sachin, and mm, Suresh. Yeah, good example. Then you have Mark, uh, marks for those students. This is one of the list where we'll have 85, 90, 78, 92. So we have four fields here, then we have four fields here. Now, if you use zip function, you can club both together. So how exactly it look like? So let's say data equals to, I'll store the returned value so that we can print it. Zip, this is the function. Then you use both the list, student and marks. And how exactly it combines together, it looks like this. I'll print the data, then see here, it creates the object of that. So I'll just unpack this object. I'll convert into list so that we can see it, what is inside this object. So it creates the data structure in this way. In previous lecture also we have seen that when we created the dictionary out of list and combination of tuple, we considered Rohan or the first element as key, second element as value. So the scenarios where you have two sequences or two iterables and you want to club them together and need to convert into dictionary. So that is where you can use zip function. So now let's understand with different example where we will have different lengths of two list. I'll just copy it, and here I will have another name, let's say Vijay. Now the length of This student's list is 5 and the length of marks list is 4. Now if I use GIF function for this kind of scenario, then how exactly it look like? So it creates the combination of available values. For example, let's say you have 5 fields and we have 4 fields here. So it will take 1-to-1 mapping for Rohan 1, Deepak again 90, Sachin 78, Suresh 92, and for Vijay there is nothing. So it will ignore those values where we will not have the values. So this is the way GIF function works. So whenever you are using GIF, make sure that your list is having sufficient values. If this is not having sufficient values, you should have proper business logic or controls implemented in your program so that if you are using GIF function and errors are handled properly. So now let's discuss about this. One of the most common use case for AI/ML applications is to create a dictionary from two list using GIF function. So let's consider you have a table. I'll take table here. Let me just select pencil. So let's suppose you have a table and this table has headers. So let's say there are 3 columns and here we have name and we have age, salary. These are the headers. Now in this rows you will have multiple values for each record. Right? In this record one, let's suppose you have Rohan. Now age is 30, salary is 50,000. And then again you have another list, Rahul, age is 25, let's say salary is 60,000, like that and so on. So this sheet can be like a number of headers, columns and records also. So now if I create a list of this header, I can create in this way. Let's say header equal to, so I'll use name, age, and then salary. So, and then I have values. So I'll consider the first record as value 1. Right? This is value 1, then value 2, value 3, something like that. So I'll use values first record. So values are Rohan, 25 and 50,000. So now I want to convert this data into dictionary. How we can do that? So let's convert it into a proper format where we can create key value pairs. So we will create JIP. So using JIP, how our data structure will look like, the first value of headers list will be will be together in tuple form with Rohan in this way, and then we will create the dictionary out of that. So I'll print both. I'll print data first, print maybe data will be an object, right? So I'll just to show you, I'll create into list. So list of data, then I'll convert it again into, let's say, my or maybe info equal to dict of data, and then I'll print info. So if you see now output, data is list of data. So we got name is Rohan, age is 25, salary is 50,000, and then we are saying info equals to dict of data. and we are printing info. So you see here, when you are converting your data into dic format in dictionary format, then you will have key value pair now. This is one of the advantage, and this is how you can create dictionary, and then using in this dictionary form you can convert it into JSON form so that you can send in the response of your API. So now let's look at this example. You can store your values in this way also. Let's say these are your headers, and now the values I have created in this way, like each element of this list is having a nested list where we are storing all records. So here all names are there, then we have age of each record and then salary of each record. And if we want to create our dictionary in this way, I want all names together, or I need age together, or maybe salary together to perform some operations, you can do that. Now let's discuss about unzipping. This is also very common method we use in our programming. So unzipping is the process of reversing the zip operation. So whatever you have done using zip, so we are going to unzip that. We are going to unpack it, or we can say reverse. It takes the zipped object and separate it back into its original components. So what happens is that suppose you have a data structure in this way where you say data equals to Rohan and then Deepak, its marks, Sachin's marks, and Suresh's marks. So this is the data earlier was created by chip function. If we see the above example, this one, right? So what happens is our original data was in two different lists, and when we club together using jig function, then it created the object like this, the list of tuples. So now what we are going to do is, let's suppose if you have data structure in this way and you want each value in list, first value in one list, second value in another list, then you can unzip it. So there also you can use zip function. How we can do that? So you take two variables. One is names and let's say marks. Then use zip function. Now you need to use one more extra thing here is asterisk mark. So you need to use this asterisk mark and then data. So now this will do the reverse. So if we print name and marks, so see the output. Now we will get the original data. So it returns in tuple form, but you can convert in list if required. If you need really in list, so it gives you by default in tuple form, but you can convert it. So if you want in list form, you can do that in this way. Print list of name, and similar for marks, list of marks. So you can get this data back into list. So these are the two major use cases where we use in our programming or application building. So let's suppose you have two lists and both list size is same, and we want to iterate through both the list. Let's say list 1 is having some fields 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again list 2 is having 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. List 2 equals to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So if you see here, list 1 and list 2 both are having same number of elements. And now the scenario is if you want to iterate through both the list. So if you don't have JIF function, what you will do? You will iterate in one loop using this loop on list one, then another loop is on this list. The same thing, you can do it in single loop like this. So you club both the iterators together using JIF, and then you will get two variables, I for list one, j for list two, and you can iterate through each element easily like this, and then you can apply your business logic based on your use case. So this is also one very common use case for AI/ML applications where we will have some predictions or labels to apply on our data and in supervised learning. We'll discuss that, but this is something we will be using. So now let's discuss this problem statement. So we need to see if both lists are identical, right? I'll say check if both lists are identical, but we want to iterate over them in parallel and print the sum of corresponding elements. This is one of the problem statement, how we can do that. So let's create two lists, list one, list two. Then this is a very easier way. What you do, you are checking the length of list one if both are not equal to, means both are not identical at all. Identical means both lists are having same length, same values. So this is a check we are putting for just to ignore those cases in case if lists are not identical in terms of length, not in terms of values. So we have said okay, both lists are not identical. Then we went to else part. So in else part, we just applied the loop in same way. We clubbed together using JIF list 1 and list 2, and we added I and j. So each element. So what we are doing here is we are not matching the element. We can put another check also here. We can say if identical, then only you do the say sum of both. So I will check if I is not equal to j, then I say both lists are not identical, and I'll break it there. Otherwise, I will add element of each list which are identical. So if I run this program, see the output: 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 2 4, 3 plus 3 6, 4 plus 4 8, and 5 plus 5 10. Now let's suppose if I change the value of list 2 from 3 to maybe 6, right? Now it will go through till here, till this point. And once this condition is been met, then it will break the loop. So for 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, then this condition is where I is not equal to j, then it says okay, the length is fine, but within that the elements are not identical. So we are printing that here and breaking the loop. So now let's discuss this problem. So let's say we have a list of names or profile, and we have a list of posts, and where I named a list is Abby profile, and these are the Abby posts. The scenario is this Abby profile will have duplicate names. For example, here we have Deepak 2 times, Sachin 1 time, Rohan 2 times, then again Vijay 3 times. So think like you have a stream from other system who is pushing profile versus post dynamically, continuously, or maybe on batch processing. So you got one batch. In last hour, these are the people who has post on Facebook or your application. So these are the FB post. Post 1, post 2, post 3, post 4, post 9, up to post 9. Now this way they are uh, creating this list, or the next system is creating list. It belongs to, like, Rohan belongs to post 1, Deepak belongs to post 2, Sachin belongs to post 3, then Rohan again belongs to post 4. So we should create a dictionary which will have the list of post by one person. Let's say Rohan has done post 1 and post 4. Similarly, Vijay has posted post 7, post 8, post 9. So how we can create that? So let's understand it. So let's say we'll create profile post, blank list, blank dictionary, right? Then we will club together FB profiles and FB post together, and we'll do the iteration over. Then it says if profile in profile post. Okay, what is that profile post? Is your dictionary. So if it is available, then we will append the post. Otherwise, we will create the post. And then we are printing profile post. Let me run it and then I'll explain in detail again. So you see here the output is Rohan has posted two posts, post 1 and post 4. Deepak has posted two posts again. Sachin has posted one. Suresh has posted again post 5, and Vijay has posted post 7, post 8 and post 9. So we got the clear uh, output, like which user has posted how many posts. So now let's relook into it and I'll explain each step one by one. So what we have done in this, we have created one dictionary. This is the dictionary profile post, which is in first time a blank dictionary. Now we have started iterating through profile and post. These are the two variables. These variables will iterate, profile will iterate on FB profiles, post will iterate on post. This is clear? Then it says if profile in profile post. So now we are checking if profile in profile post, means this is my profile post. So first time for profile, the value is Rohan. So it checks that if Rohan is available here as key, no, then it will go else, because this is false for first case. There is nothing in profile post dictionary. It will go to else part. What we are doing here, we are creating a key with the list of post. Here you check this. This is the list of post. So how it will be created? The key will be Rohan, and the value will be list of post. So post first time is post 1. So this will become post 1 here, like this. Now for first iteration, your dictionary will be this. Then again, the next iteration is Deepak. And for post is post 2. Then condition is if profile in profile post. So what is the profile value? Deepak. Deepak is available here? No. Then it will create another key, Deepak. Then this is again list, right? Post 2, like this. Then third iteration. Same for Sachin. It will create, because Sachin is not available. So it will create another key for Sachin, and then it create the list of post 3. Then the next iteration is again Rohan. So now This condition will check if Rohan in profile post. So you see here, Rohan is already available. So Rohan is in profile post, yes. Now this statement will execute. Profile post of profile means Rohan. Append, dot append. So we are appending to this list. So now instead of this will be extended to this post 1, comma, post 4, like that. So the same way it will be done for others also, and you will get a clear output like one profile has posted these many posts, this profile has posted these many posts, like that. So this kind of questions in interview also been asked, and there are certain applications, mostly social media applications, where we have LinkedIn like application, Insta like application, or maybe within your organization you will have Viva Engage or different portals where people used to do post, and then we need to put some filters on it or something. So depends on your use case, you can use this. Now let's look into implementing in-memory cache for AIML applications with simple dictionary. We'll take one use case here, but in normal applications also sometime we create in-memory cache. But when it comes to production, we use Redis cache or some other in-memory database. But for POC purpose, or if you have less number of users for your application and where your budget is also low, so you can create in-memory cache in this way. So let's say you create a cache. There is a variable. We are just checking, taking one variable here as blank dictionary, right? Then what we can do is this is one of the way. So I have used one function because I'm returning it from here. If I am not using function, then it will be a bit difficult for me to explain. But as of now, we will cover functions completely in detail. But now here to understand it, let's use this. So let's say you have a function called expensive computations where we are passing x in cache. So first thing is we are checking in cache if our value is available or not. If value is not available, then we are doing the computation here. This is your business logic. So here just I have used this as an example. But in your real application, you can set your business logic here and then you store your results versus your key and then return the results. So how exactly it look like? So let's say I'll call expensive computation function with 10. So here to understand, you just think like this. The value of x is 10. Now, what will happen is it will check if 10 is in cache. Cache is nothing, it's your dictionary. If 10 is key, as a key is available here, no. Then it will go to else part. Then in else part, it will perform this 10 into 10, which will become 100. Then it will store 10 as key and in result will be stored 100. Very first time. So now if I run this program for first time, see here, we are performing the business logic. So what will happen or what is the exact use case of cache? If you have a business logic and I do not want to perform the same logic again for same set of data. So I keep it in cache. Okay, for this thing, I already have done some computation or I have completed some business logic and here is the result. So we store in memory. So instead of performing the same operation for same request again, we check in our cache. If it is already available, we pick it from there and then return it back. So let's understand it again with this way. Let me create one new page. So normally in our application, how cache works. So let's say how application look like. You have a front end and we have a back end and there is a database. This is how three-tier application look like. So if front end is asking for some data through backend query to your database, and then database returns the results back to backend. Backend perform the business logic if required, then convert into JSON format and give response back. So this is the cycle. Now let's suppose your user is asking again with the same request. Then instead of calling your database directly, you can have a in-memory database which is called cache. So mostly organization uses Redis database. So this is the cache where what I do usually or best practices when first time you are querying to our backend will check here in cache. If it is not available in cache, then it query to your database and then database returns the result. So backend will store in cache, then then response back to front end. So when next time the same request come to backend, it will check in cache first. If data is available here, it returns from here itself. It will not query to database. So using this technique, we make our applications faster, introducing Redis. So let's say you have 10 millions of customers, 20 millions of customers, and there are 5 millions of customers looking for same data. You can store in cache and read it from here so that you can avoid the expensive read write on your actual database. Basically reads, write is always go to your persistent database. So same logic here also implemented. So what we are saying is think like this. So the request is for 10 and this is the result stored in your database 100 and we are storing in this cache. So now it returns 100 and created the cache. So when next time I'm calling the same function with same value, then instead of performing the expensive computation or instead of calling the database, if we mimic the same case there, so instead of calling that, what it does, it check in your cache. If computation is already available in cache, then call use that, then return that. So you see here when I'm calling second time, I am fetching it from cache and returning it back, not performing this operation again. So that is the benefit of introducing cache in your application. So this topic, JSON serialization and deserialization, is the topic where this is one of the most useful use case in across the applications belongs to AI/ML or normal web applications, any backend. So what usually happen is whenever you send a request from front end to back end, and this request may have a JSON request, right? So let's say if you are filling a registration and then you will have a JSON file or JSON request where your registration form details will be available. For example, name equal to Rohan, comma, age is 25. So whatever the fields you have asked in your registration form, when you say submit the form, the request goes to backend, and then what backend does? It convert your JSON data into dictionary first. Why? Because we need to apply operation on it. So one way is converting your data from JSON to dictionary, and when you perform operations, you does your business logic, you have saved into database, whatever you have done, you complete it, and while building the response back, then there is a deserialization will happen, like from dict to JSON conversion. So in response also you will get JSON. So this is the most common use case. Apart from that, there are a lot of AIML applications or use cases where you have JSON file and you will be converting JSON data into dictionary and then performing the operations, then saving it back into JSON file. So how exactly JSON file look like? So it will have same structure like dictionary. It has key value pair and looks like similar as dictionary. See here, key separate, key and value is separated by colon, then comma, next pair, then comma, next pair, like that. So now let's perform one operation where we have a dictionary, then we will convert into JSON first. Okay, so let's say our dictionary we have data equals to name Rohan, age is 25, city is New York, and hobbies is reading, traveling, and cooking. So this is dictionary type data. Now what we are going to do is we will create a file where we will create a file as JSON file and then convert this dictionary into JSON form and add into that. So the way how you can create a file, so you start like this with open, then file name. Let's say uh, test1.json. This will be your file name. This is open is a function which is used for your for the files. Let's say if you want to work on text file, JSON file, normal files, not the Excel sheet or doc or PPTs. We have different libraries for that. But if you want to work on JSON or TXT or maybe CSV, then you can use this function. So open function has two major argument. One is your file name, then the mode. So there are three types of mode. One is write, read, and append. So what write will does, it will create the file if file is not available. If you're passing read means R, then it reads the file. If file is not available, it return the error. And what append does, if file is not available, it creates the file, it writes the code. If file is available, then it append the text after your current. Uh, so let's say your file is having some values or some lines from line 1 to line 5. Then append will write into from line 6. So I'll come to that in detail. But here to understand it, we have a test1.json. In write mode, I'm creating a file, and then this is the way json.dump. So what is the JSON? You need to import it. So there is a library in Python, import JSON. So this library have one method called dump. So let's suppose if you want to convert your dictionary into JSON form, use json.dump. Then dump your data, and this is a file pointer to write it, right? I'm writing into this file. So if I run this code, see the output, I got one file called test1.json created. and this is the data now in JSON form. So this is the way you can create JSON data out of your dictionary data. Now let's understand reverse process where we have input.json file. This is a different file which I have created manually. And here also values look similar. I'll change values so that you will not get confused. So this is one file I created. Maybe city, I can change to Delhi. All right, so this is the file input.json. Now our task is to convert this data, or let's load this first into Python and then convert it into dictionary. So this is very simple way. I'll say with open, because we have a file here input.json. So you can open file input.json file in read mode. So for read mode, I use R. Then as as f. So f is nothing, it's a variable or a file pointer, colon. Then data.json load. So this is the one, data equal to json.load. So what json.load says, it does the deserialization. So it loads the JSON data and converts back into dictionary. So now if I print, let's say print data, and I want to print the type of data also. So this is dictionary data. So what I did here is input.json file have JSON data. I load this file and then convert JSON data to dictionary. So when you are converting from JSON to dictionary, use load function. When you are converting from dictionary to JSON, use dump function. So that is the only difference. Now these are my suggestions when you are using dictionary data structure in AML applications. As senior roles, you should be take care of it. So let's say when you have lookup, so dictionary lookup is O of 1, where list of the lookup is like search is O of n. So for large data sets, you can use dictionary when we check the membership. That is one suggestion. Another suggestion is memory overhead. So dictionary uses more memory than list because of hash table overhead. So anyway, I will cover this in data structure. For huge data, consider alternatives like array or numpy arrays. So if you can use integer indices. So this part I'll cover where we will be having the numpy library. So if you have similar kind of data, then you can use array, numpy array instead of using direct list, because list allow heterogeneous data. Then this is third point I want to mention is key choices. Integers and strings are fastest. So avoid custom object as keys. So mostly you try to create integers or strings as key instead of creating tuple or any object as key of dictionary. So in next lecture we will discuss about SAT and couple of interview questions.